There's something that I think every dealer faces, and that is how do I put a price on this particular vehicle, right? And to help lead that conversation and talk about how to price vehicles without assumption, the tool that changes everything, not just some things, but everything, please do me a favor and help me welcome up Bob George, who is the Vice President of Product Management at iPACKET. Let's give him a big round of applause. Bob, you ready? You ready? All right, I love that. This is your stage. It's your turn. I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you, Errol.
You got it. Enjoy.
Errol with 2 L's, I remember.
That's it. You got it.
Yeah. All right, so first off, that group up here in front of me, I'm not intimidated at all by some of those folks. I can follow them, no problem. So I'm going to walk you guys through the newest product from iPACKET. And before I do that, I thought it'd be good to give you a little bit of history on kind of how I came to this and what I see in this. And so first off, let me just advance this. All right, so background. Spent 20 years in automotive SaaS, one of the founding members of Dealer.com way back when, joined Cox for a long time, and really have covered a lot of different products, CRM, websites, advertising, that sort of thing. And I can tell you all, I mean, I was thinking about this. I said, this is one of the most exciting product launches. No. This is the most exciting product launch I've ever done. And one of the reasons why is because it goes after such a fundamental problem in the auto industry when it comes to pricing and appraising vehicles. And it's really a simple one. I'm looking at a car, I'm looking at comparable vehicles to try to price it. What equipment, what options and packages do these vehicles have? What were the original MSRPs? What data built this car from the factory? And how do I rationalize that when I'm looking at 100, 200 comparable vehicles in inventory management systems? You know, you can use iPACKET's window sticker product, very good product, sticker puller, and go through and do it manually, but that's hours of work every single time. And so what we've built here is an automated way where when you're pricing a vehicle, you can go get original OEM window sticker data, not just for the car you're pricing, but all the comparables you're looking at. And so, yeah, I'll go off script here. I was talking a little earlier today to a Ford dealer, Central Texas. We were talking about Ford trucks, right? Because what does an F-150 run? 30, high 30s maybe, all the way to, can you get one for 80 grand? Probably, right? Platinum, Lariat, highest trim. And so we were talking about, he said, you know, I don't even care about the trim. I care about the engine. If it's got the 5.0 motor, I don't want to compare it to 2.7 EcoBoosts. Because especially out here in West Texas, the dust kills those motors. So when you're showing me a comp set, I need to make sure I know exactly what the options, packages, equipment, engine is, right? And so for him, that made a lot of sense. And what I love about that story is I hadn't really thought of that. I live up in the Northeast, so I'm not dealing with all the dust out there. But for him regionally, that was his value in seeing this product. And so what I thought I'd do here is give you guys, you know, don't just hear it from me. I'll run you through a quick video of our product, and then I'll take you through some of the specifics.
When we started iPACKET, we took on one of the largest automotive problems in history. Transparency was taboo, and now it's an industry standard.
We didn't know it at the time, but we were building the single largest repository of OEM verified vehicle data ever assembled.
Vehicle values, as a general rule, a lot of it traditionally is done by gut feeling. Every dealer could give you a different number.
They'll look at Black Book, JD Power, they'll look at KBB, and they'll kind of look out on the market to see what the average price point is.
We're taking all the guesswork out of the equation, and we're replacing it with OEM verified data.
This is fact. This is hard data. What dealer principals have seen is profits going up, appraisals being put together because you trust the data that is provided by the OEM.
When we set out to build iPACKET, we always felt like we'd change automotive, and I think we have, but this one could change everything.
So iPACKET value, right? And so one of the things that was said in that video, my favorite line of the video is when our head of engineering sits back and says, you know, over the last 14, 15 years, we were quietly building the biggest set of OEM window sticker data in the industry. And kind of just, I mean, I can't speak to the founders, but a lot of it was just, hey, we may want to use this data someday. Let's not get rid of it. Let's put it away. We know it's a value. We actually have OEMs that come to us who have lost data and said, hey, do you have any window stickers from 2018, 2019? We lost all of ours. Yeah, actually we do. And so we've built ourselves the largest repository of window sticker data. okay, great. I remember talking to an OEM a couple years ago, and they were saying all the data they had. I said, well, what do you do with it? I don't know. It sits in a warehouse, data warehouse. We're waiting to do something with it. And so what we've done in the last year is we've taken those tens of millions of OEM window stickers and turned them into structured data. Right? Because a lot of those things, and I know because I've lived the pain with our engineering team, they come in as PDFs, they come in as images, they come in as PDFs with images layered on them. They come in sometimes as structured data, but a lot of times you have to form it in a different way. It's very, very challenging to turn window sticker data into structured data. But that's what we spent the better part of last year doing. And so with iPACKET Value, what we're doing here is it's a totally different way to price and appraise vehicles because our starting point is different. Right? We don't just look at a comp set and look across what's local and say, okay, that car is 42,000, that car is 48, that one's 44. We get there, but we start with all the original window stickers, right? Take that F-150 example. If I'm looking at a $54,000 F-150, I don't want to compare to the $38,000 one, and I don't want to compare to the $70,000 one. I want you to show me those 54 to 62 range trucks, right? That are about the right in terms of options packages, and then let me then triangulate the value based on that. And so again, previously you'd have to go through and do this, you'd have to click through all the different VINs, download the stickers, probably build a spreadsheet. You could spend hours on a vehicle. Now it's just a couple clicks in our application and you can do it directly there. And so what I kind of was getting at is, for those that are familiar with iPACKET, within the portal that we have today, the dealer portal that you use to send packets out, we've nested our values directly in there. Right, so when you're looking at a vehicle now, you're looking at that Volvo, it's not just the price on the Volvo, but we're going to show you 19 highly precise comps. Sometimes people ask, well, the other tool I had has 100 comps. You only have 50, what's up with that? Well, ours are down to the trim, sometimes down to the package. We are so precise in the set we show that for us it's quality over quantity. We still have a good breadth of inventory here, but we're all about finding precision in appraisal and making sure that when we show you a number, we're basing it on original MSRP data and not just the average in the market. And so what we do here is we find all those, I'm kind of going through our process, right? We find all those original window stickers and we apply percentages to them based on what they're priced at. Most of this, it's like a residual for a new car, right? Coming off lease. You know, this car, 4 years old, tends to be worth 52% of MSRP, regardless of which level it's at. And then when you get a car in stock, you can triangulate the price right against that percentage. You can kind of see it here. And suddenly you're not guessing anymore. You're not hoping that you land right. And it's really applicable. When you look at those high trim and low trim vehicles, you know, cars in the middle, kind of average cars, they get priced in the middle like average cars. It's those outlier cars that if you're not careful, you can leave a lot of gross profit on the table just because it got mispriced. And I'll tell a story a little later on about that. I'm not going to kill you guys with slides too. This is my last one, and then it gets into a little story time. So one of my favorite parts of this product, again, the most exciting product I've ever worked on, is the consumer-facing piece, right? And Sevi, our CEO, touched on this in the video there, that iPACKET was built on top of trust, transparency, bringing that into the industry and making sure people understood, you know, what I'm showing you here is exactly what the data says there. So we took the same exact approach for iPACKET Value and said, here's a simple thing to do. Let's just show our homework, right? We're going to give you a number, but we're not just going to give you a number. We're going to show you all the comparable vehicles that were then used to generate that number. And for a consumer, what if we could do the same thing, right? Because how do I know the price is any good? The car down the street's got a lot, yeah, well, the car down the street, they have way more, you know, it's way cheaper or whatever. Okay, what kind of equipment do they have? What kind of reconditioning have they done? And so our goal here is to take the insights that we have from our product, place it in front of a consumer. So if you know iPACKET well, we have our window stickers, we have our RO data, we have all the original OEM data. Now we're assembling a consumer-facing view where we can actually go in and show the consumer, yeah, you're getting a good deal. Here's some comparable vehicles. Now we're careful. We're not going to show you exactly what they are because we don't want them cross-shopping with your competitors, right? But we're going to give them a good story on why you're priced efficiently, why you're priced better. And in some cases, we'll highlight options, packages, that sort of thing, to make sure the consumer understands, I'm not just buying any old GLE Mercedes, I'm buying the good one. And so I promised a story for you all. We had a dealer a couple weeks back. It was a Kia store. and they had taken a GLE 53 in on trade, all right? And so I don't know how they got this car, but we started looking at it. So GL 53, window sticker on this thing was like 112. It was wild. I mean, it had the Napa leather, it had the Pinnacle trim, it had the driver assistance, it had like the good 22-inch wheels, it had the manufacturer paint. I actually pulled the window sticker down. I was like, this has got to be like the highest option GLE 53 you can get out there. So, dealer gets the car, Kia dealer, right? They don't really know Mercedes. If you know Mercedes, you know how to price that car. You know you're looking at a unicorn. You know you're looking at kind of a one-in-one. But if you're a Kia store and you don't see them that often, how do you price them? Well, you pull up your appraisal tool and it says, this is approximately what the price is. But we looked at it, they were pricing it like it was a $95,000 car, not a $112,000 car. And they had that, and so we said, hey, you know, you guys just got this unit in stock, you know, you haven't really advertised it yet. We noticed that you're way under in terms of value, and here's why, right? It's not just you're way under and trust us. Let me show you the comp set. Let me show you the data. I've got a $111,000 one like yours, 100 miles away. Look how they're priced. Dealer raised their price $6,000, sold the car a week later, right? And so in that case, now I want to know what they bought it for. How well did they do if they were able to advertise it where they did? But the key there was that dealer knew how to price 80% of their cars. And generally, we're pretty good in terms of our value versus their price. It's those outliers where they're going to miss. And if they miss that gross, you know, you miss $3,000, $4,000 on a car a few times a month, that adds up. And so we start showing people kind of like, look, we're not asking you to change your whole process. We're not asking you to change pricing tools, all that. But use our system to validate on those outlier vehicles especially what the true value is, and then get all the money for them and advertise all the work that's been done to it through reconditioning or all the window sticker data. And so that was a really cool example of, again, that happened a couple weeks ago. I had the one happen on the floor here 2 hours ago. And so we're seeing dealers kind of connecting with, yeah, you're right. If I could find the edge in that, I had a dealer say, there's so much data, there's so many tools, there's AI everywhere, all over the place. I'm just trying to find a competitive edge. Oh, come on over, I can help you with that. And so kind of in summary, I'll wrap up with this slide. Our methodology is all about the original window sticker, turning that data into structured data so we can analyze it against other vehicles, original window stickers, building a pricing model that, again, you can use it for guidance, you can use our comparable vehicles. There's lots of different ways you can use this product depending on your pricing strategy. But it's really all about validating what you think you know from other applications with that original OEM data. And then the last piece is the consumer-facing side, right? It's actually starting to express and expose some of this to the end consumer. Again, building trust, building transparency, showing the consumer, hey, don't take my word for it. Look at the comparable vehicles and look at this methodology that you can kind of, you know, I made this quote to someone. Our strategy is simple because we have the raw OEM data for it to be simple. If you don't have that raw data, you have all these complex ways to try to do things. When you've got the pure data at your base, it's really simple to price on top of that. So I'm going to wrap it up there. You can come check out the product. We're at booth 1453 in the West Hall, right on the other side of there. And I really appreciate you guys' time. Thank you.